Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pirates Eve, one of the 5,000 podcasts, vodcasts, blogcasts, everything handling Eve Echoes, because we have to have as many podcasts as we do alliances in game. It's actually part of the CC bylaws. So if we don't continue to do this, then we're actually going to take the ability to form alliances away. So, welcome to this one where we're going to be talking with Mama Rex, the CEO of Get, the leader, the just the overall supreme commander of the Gen Fed fleet, which has decided that they're going to be at war every single day the game is active. How are you doing?
Doing good, thank you. And yeah, about the wars.
Yeah,
I
about the
think
war.
we woke up last night. I think yesterday we woke up in the morning. I woke up to a fight. There was a fight that was streamed, and then it was all through the day until the end of the day. And I went to bed. And I'm finally like, I'm done, guys. I gotta go to bed.
But is it necessarily a bad thing to have? I mean, content is fun. I will say it gets a little bit overwhelming, but content is fun.
Yeah, not at all. In fact, so it's been our stance all along that we don't want a blue donut, and we don't, because
Yeah.
then it's boring and people all become miners, which is cool. I've got miners too, but we want to do pew pew too. So
The
and we've had
last
some.
time no, I get it because the last time I mined, and I see a couple of my people, and I think the last time I mined was 3 weeks ago. So you can make it to a point in the career that you've chosen and not mine. Well, then don't mine.
Hmm. Yeah,
Awesome.
I think so.
No, you're good.
Keep going. I had to readjust my
Okay.
mic. It was picking up the wrong mic, so I sounded terrible. Now it should sound better.
Oh. Oh,
You
okay.
know that thing where
I'm not
you'll be talking into like this fancy, beautiful microphone, but instead the computer's like, "Hey, I'm going to use this mic on the camera for no reason." Yeah, it happened.
right.
Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah. That's why I went with the headphones, because you can't hear me on that stupid mic on
yeah.
the camera. It does not work right.
So let's start. Talk about what Gen Fed is for one, and talk about who you are. Just for those who don't know and who will listen to this on YouTube at a later date, tell us a bit because I actually got to know you guys through your first war with Doomsy and Ops. So let me know what y'all are.
Okay, what are we?
what,
I don't know. We're
what a
we're
complicated question that is.
it is such a complicated question. No, so we're an Eve Alliance, and Eve Echoes Alliance,
Mm-hmm.
and this is there's some of us that supplanted from another game, and there's some of us that played Eve Online. There's a huge range of people now. We have so many people that we've got people from like every background, every mobile game, every computer game, and people have come from all over at this point. So we're just really a mishmash of all of that. What we are is a group of people that want to go out and have fun.
Mm.
And like I
What a
said,
concept.
I know,
Games
right?
and
It's a game.
fun.
I know,
You're in the
right?
wrong era,
And
Miss Rex. You're in the wrong era.
I am, and it was funny. I had a chat. I think it's Alondria who first phrased it this way. Back in the day, when you would play video games, you would do it over at someone's house or a LAN
Yeah, LAN
party, or
parties.
you'd have everybody circled around a console or something,
Yeah.
and everyone's got their remotes, and you got pizza and chips or whatever, and you're hanging out. Uh, and if someone's mouthing off to you or something, or someone's being a jerk, then everyone else is in the room, and they're like, "What's your problem, dude?" And it would be resolved. And now everything's so big
Yeah.
and just all over the place that it can get a little out of hand, which it does.
Yeah.
But anyway, who are we? We're a crazy large alliance. I don't know how that happened, but
Go
we
ahead and humble brag.
have
Tell me those members. Tell me the numbers. Come on, humble brag. Do it.
so our our current count is about 3,700 players. The best part about us, I think, is that, well, there's a lot of good things about us, but I really like that we're multicultural. So
Mm-hmm.
we have um, we have just wonderful Russian players. We've got or corporations and players, Chinese, Koreans, Indonesians, um, Australians, and Brazilians, and God, I've saw so many. We have Germans, wonderful Germans, some great French guys who actually named our last alliance that we made, which is hilarious. Um, And so we have so many different people from all over the world that
Mm-hmm.
make up what Genesis is, and North Americans, of course, as well.
None of those
And
dirty
so
Kiwis, though, right? No dirty Kiwis.
we even have Kiwis.
Even
We
have
even have
Kiwis?
Kiwis. We do. But it's great. It makes for the one of the coolest things about us is that we are an alliance that never sleeps.
Yeah.
And so I can wake up in the morning like I did yesterday, and there's this big fight that's been streamed on Twitch over at our home base. And I'm like, there's a big what? And it was already handled, and everybody who's on what is my night shift,
Mm-hmm.
grouped up and went out and brawled and have fun and did all that in solar system, all that. So it's really cool to have that influence. We have some people on our Discord. Some people can't be on our Discord because of like in China, Discord's not a thing. It's not legal to be in Discord or use that platform. So
Yeah.
we have folks over on WeChat and other things like that. And then we do have space within all of our Discords for different languages, but some people still aren't quite comfortable, and we don't push those groups necessarily, other than
Mm-hmm.
having leadership available. We encourage people to be there so that if a ping goes out that hey, there's a home defense, or hey, there's some dudes roaming around in our area, they get the ping and they don't get caught unaware. But generally speaking, I think that's really one of our strengths is we draw from all of these influences from all over the world.
I know with my alliance, we are mostly, I mean, we try to do the time zone separation. We have a French group that is kind of hit or miss, but they're PvPers and they're fun. We're almost all North American, and then we have this random group of Australians and New Zealanders. But we're only at about 600, 650 members. So, in terms of scale, far smaller. And I can discuss, I want you to go first, is how do y'all structure Gen Fed with that many people? Obviously, delegation's a thing. Like, if you didn't, you would literally have no hair because you would have pulled it all out by now. So, how do y'all structure your delegation when it comes to PvP ops, mining operations, normal patrols, patrolling for miners for protection? How do y'all delegate all that? Do you have a massive just tree built for everybody? What do y'all do?
Well, so that's a good question because our structure grows with our size too. So
Mm-hmm.
at first, this whole thing seemed much easier than it really was because we started out much smaller to begin with than we are now, obviously. Um, at the current structure, I'm the chief executor for the Alliance. We have two other active executors, and that's Kinos Kerensky and Alondria Firestorm.
Mm-hmm.
And so between the three of us, we tend to address problems pretty quickly. We also have Jolly Teach at the executor level, but he's got an adorable little one on the way, so he's a little stepped back from stuff right now, just so he can deal with that wonderful life event. Um, and so then we have our CEOs as our next level of authority. They, we have our CEOs police their own people
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to things, and all of them. And this is one of the coolest things about Genesis, I think, is that so many CEOs have come to us that didn't even start with us. Some of them did, but some of them haven't, and they've come up with just super cool ways to step in and help us organize because we try to really be a team, and it's
Mm-hmm.
all a team effort. That's why we have the first corporations in the game and one of the first alliances in the game.
Yeah.
Um, is because of this teamwork mentality, and it's been that way all the way through. So a good example of this is Kettlebell from RTI. He joined us after we were initially formed, um, but he said, "Look, we look at this area, and we can work together to develop a farming system that will increase anomalies and other things for everybody, so that everybody has the opportunity to use them and earn higher values of ISK out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, he set up this whole like farming and monitoring system, and he gets up every morning with his coffee and goes through all the spreadsheets and posts it up. And
I love that
he's the guy
dedication.
to go to for that.
We've
It's
got
amazing.
a lot of custom spreadsheets we've made. Obviously, we even have one person who has gone as far as to make us an app for PI. And I'm sitting here
Right.
going like, that stuff's awesome. I could never. No,
No,
never.
no.
But the fact that there are people who like that, who step in and do it for you and not have to be told, just like, hey, we love the game. We want to do this. And
Yeah.
they naturally
Yeah.
get in that position. And if you're out there with your own small alliance or corporation, and I would say, I know Eve has this whole, and you don't come from Eve Online, like neither I do, but like Eve as a name has this like you can't trust anybody thing, and I've actually found so far the opposite. And if I get betrayed, I get betrayed, but I found there's way more helpful people than there are malicious people. I mean, there's plenty of people out there that they're trying for the quick, easy screw you over. Like if you're stupid enough to let them have access to the court bank the second day they join, sure, but in general, I found
Right.
most people are more helpful and friendly, especially the hardcore gamers like me and you who've been doing this a while. Most people want to come in here and have fun, and sometimes that means being efficient and playing with spreadsheets. And thankfully, there's a lot of D&Ders in this game, so it's like a natural transition. Like we'll just take our character and put them into Eve Echoes. There we go.
Right. Exactly. And I've said it before on streams, and I still say it. There's a lot of people smarter than me in this alliance, and thank God for that, because they are in there doing stuff that I'm like, wow, you guys kick ass. I'm sorry if I'm not allowed to cuss. I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, good.
Just no crazy F-bombs. Let's not like go political. We'll just stay away from the target areas, and we're good. We're good.
All right. No, okay, good. Good. So yeah, I mean, they're just people who are just doing a fantastic job within the alliance, who have just stepped up to do things.
Well,
so
with y'all being so big, obviously you've gotten targets on your back for whatever reason. Now I realize, especially for all those who listen to this afterwards, who have gone to war with GenFed, I do realize that we're going to be hearing one side of it. Please don't give me your crybaby story about everything she says is a lie. Everybody has their own side, their own view. But from y'all's point of view, what started
Okay.
like the first set of wars, and what is built in this war with like Elysium that has now turned into like 30 different people versus y'all? Granted, y'all are like 30 different people anyway. What's brought on the current war? So what's caused all the wars? What are you doing? What's caused all the wars?
I'm an evil space tyrant. That's as far as I know. I'm an evil space tyrant.
Wear as a badge of honor. There you go.
Deserve to be, wiped out. As far as I can tell, this is the best I can piece together. No, I think primarily it's our size, right? Our size and our attention is the number one thing I can think of. So we are a large alliance. We put up a fight when people show up in our system. We don't just sit in our base. We get out, we brawl. May take us a little time to find the right shoes to match the right dress, as we get fleeted up or
Love
whatever.
The reference. Love the reference.
But right. But whatever, that's what we do. So we get out and fight, because to us, every fight is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to learn more and do more and learn more about the game. And it's also an opportunity to play, because we don't just do this game to mine. We do this game to go out and play and shoot and pew and have fun.
Yeah.
And if we get our stuff blown up, that's fine. We just go back another day.
So besides the large, like, I know what started the ops war, and I think that got handled, and that's we don't necessarily need to drug up the nastiness of that. But is the Elysium a similar situation, or is that just like a territory thing? Because I'm surprised, honestly, even with y'all's size, that territory becomes an object, because sovereignty's not here yet, and there's so many spots for large corporations to go sit on. What else is driving those wars?
So this is what, and we were contacted recently for the first time by Elysium leadership. So, and by recently, I mean like yesterday. It's either yesterday or it's all kind of a blur. It could have been a day and a half ago. So we were contacted by them at that point, and what they told us was that this was, they were in a protection agreement, I guess, with Op4S as part of their coalition, and so that's why they've been attacking us.
But that,
So
But Ops pulled out like
That's
3 weeks ago,
right.
except for
Right.
Red, who have kept on the fight.
Right. Right.
Now, you'd be surprised how much
So
us random guys in the East know. We've got ears and eyes.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know. And so that is, but that's what we've been told.
Okay.
And so I don't. The only way I have to dispute that is the same way you just did, which is like, well, that doesn't like add up. But
The only thing that then would
here we
I
are.
go
So
to
that's the only thing I've had on it.
at that point, you just must want content, which is okay. If you just want
Yeah.
content, just say it. Cool. Jen is big. I want to war them. I want content. I was always curious, like, because I knew the ops thing, Doomsy, because Doomsy has kind of gotten a little bit more quiet. He handled everything. I think he handled them how they need to be handled, and then they kind of pulled out, except for Red, who's still around. And I was just like, wait, they're at war again with who? I mean, so I like to keep a tab on the wars that are going around. Like you got the Silent Alliances at war up in the north, and I was like, wait, Jen is still at war in Esoteria? I thought they finally had it all. I thought that was theirs.
Yeah, well, it is, but we
It is ours, but
people show up at our door every day, so it's one of those things where it's like, okay, and that's fine. People can show up at our door. Like I said, they're going to get a fight, and that's cool.
Well,
We put fights together, and we blow up ships and all that good stuff. It's fine.
Well, let's use this as a teaching moment for other corps real quick, because I know y'all are extremely organized. Y'all are the type of alliance that can summon a 50-man fleet in minutes. What are steps you take to get to that level of organization? Are there, for example, in your hangars and the different officers, do y'all have ships set aside just for this type of PvP with these loadouts? You grab them, we go. How do y'all set up the get the fleet ready to fight mentality?
Exactly that. So here's our thing is if we want to have a space to go out and play and do all the other PvE stuff, non-combat stuff, then we also need to be able and prepared to defend that, right?
Mhm.
I mean, that's part of the agreement when a CEO comes to get interviewed by me, then that I make it super clear. Look,
Yeah.
we understand if you're a mining corp, great. And if you're a mining corp and we have to do a home defense and you don't have a ship for some reason, I mean, we give out ships, but
Yeah.
if you don't have a ship for some reason, there's a seated condor in the station. Like, get yourself in a seated condor. Let's just get out there and do something,
Mhm.
and be helpful in some way. And so everybody knows that coming in. So that's kind of, again, we're teamwork. We group up.
Mhm.
We love where we are, and so we want to defend where we are.
Yeah.
And so that is just the way it is. So when we have one group that goes out and does just storyline missions all the time, like around the clock, it is a round the clock group. But the guys who go out and do that set their pods or set their clones back at home base. So if there's a home defense, the group, they drop their ships in the nearest station, they pod each other,
Mhm.
and then one unlucky guy has to fly home, but the other guys all get the free ride home, the free express home,
Yeah.
and hop in their ships. So we have a fleet doctrine. I mean, several fleet doctrines. We give out those doctrine ships to most of our corp members who ask for them or would like them. A lot of people just bought their own
Mhm.
to begin with, and they kind of have it fitted out. And we also have an SRP program. So if our ships get blown up and they get blown up in the home defense, they get replaced.
Yeah, I'm
And
glad
so
you mentioned
everyone,
that program. Like with us, we're still in terms of size and scale to y'all, we're a little bit smaller still, so we're still organizing our alliance. But like for my corp, we provide ships for everything. If you lose we provide frigates and destroyers because that's what you're typically going to lose in PvP anyway. But
right?
we'll also, I think, yesterday, and Zan, who's in my chat, can say this. I think we bought like 20 Venture 3s because we wanted to have a mining op this weekend. Well, not everybody was loaded out, so the corp went and provided all that, and that type of one, it justifies the tax that we always love to ram down the little guys' throats. But two, it also helps promote a lot of that activity because it's I mean, you
Right.
can't get 50 people to come do something if they don't have the equipment to do it. Like, there's nothing worse. And I'll admit, we're a pirate group, so we run into this all the time. There's nothing worse than you showing up with 3 fleets of a ragtag assortment of everything. That's just asking to blow up. Like, you
Right.
pick a ship that you're going to go. I mean, that's like one thing, like, we'll get into Sovereign later, but one thing I like about Sovereign's fleet is they know what they're going to do. They pick stealth bombers. That's what they do. That's all they know. And that's what they do. So finding a ship that works for your fleet, for if you're pirates, I mean, I like to run Thrasher fleets, a little bit more survivability in my Thrasher, plenty of
Yeah.
lockdown. And if you're not running a Thrasher in our fleet, odds are you're running a Drammy, and that's just cheating. But you know, with those Drammies and Thrashers, we take out Hurricanes and Canyons and the battle cruisers pretty easily. So, you know, it's having a court that's willing to set aside those materials and those resources is going to help better everybody, especially some of the new players that we have in chat right now. You know, it's like for Zand, who's a noob using railguns, while literally all of us are using cannons. Good job, Zand.
Wait, I just want to clarify one point here. So are you saying that you SRP Dramules? Because if you do,
Nope, I'm
then
not. No,
I'm coming over.
no.
We're all of Genesis. We're gonna come
Yeah,
join you
all
guys.
of you guys are coming over. Yes,
All
no.
of us. Yeah, for the SRP.
Just to clarify, the alliance you see on the screen right now, Orb, we do Condor 2s, Thrashers, stuff like that, not Drammies. No, not Drammies. Now, when
Okay, because I
Drammies are
heard
no
frigates,
longer,
and then you said Drammies.
I know. Okay. Let me be more specific. Interceptors. Okay, interceptors. There we go. Let's get very specific at what we'll rebound, because for some reason the Drammy's not an interceptor, even though it's the fastest ship in the game right now. It's a frigate.
Right.
But yeah, we do try to provide those. She's trying to catch me here. You see that? Trying to get me in trouble. The corp has only
I'm
got
not trying
so
to get you
much
in trouble.
money.
I'm just trying to figure it out, because I just need to know if we need to shift the location to come live over there with you guys.
Oh my gosh.
So no, that's good to know. Yeah, we do the same thing, especially with the fractals as well. So we like those ships, and we just kind of decide, and we have a bunch of really great fleet commanders. We have a bunch of really great junior fleet commanders. So we've got a good tiered group that way, and so people who can step in and say, okay, this is the right ship for the right situation. We're not going to win every single fight, but we're gonna do our best and take a swing at it. And even if we're outnumbered or anything like that, then it still gives us, again, that practice of different tactics. Sometimes you're going to use hit and run tactics. Sometimes you're going to use toe-to-toe tactics. It just kind of depends on the fleet structure that attacks you, and what you have to work with in response.
Yeah. So we're talking about battles and fleets, everything. Let's hit into the next subject, which I'm really excited to hear you give some experiences with, some nice Eve stories. Favorite battle so far in your wars?
Okay. So my two, I have three favorite battles now.
Okay.
As far as big battles go, I've got three big ones. And those were the last 3 weekends, right? So 2 weeks ago, Op4S Op4S Elysium. It was like 5 alliances came and attacked us, and they brought it was like 250, just shy of 300 ships, I think. And they jumped into the system. We've got all kinds of reasons as to why that happened or why they came over, which was just interesting.
Okay.
Details.
Details.
I know the details. Sorry. So it was like we were told later. Well, we were all just kind of in the area hanging out. Like,
wait, 300 people were just in the area?
They were just in the area.
I mean, that's cool.
So
look, I've told you before we did this, I'm staying completely neutral. It's just, that's a weird thing to say. We were in the area. Now, I'm sure in the YouTube comments of this video, we will get a very specific answer. But in the area, sounds legit, man. Cool story, bro.
Right. It was totally legit. And so we were just laughing at this, but that's okay. So they were in the area. They were all just in the area. And then Op4S's group jumped in, and I think Ragnar was leading that one. We had waited for quite some time. We knew they were coming because we had intel from their Discord saying that they were coming. So we had already fleeted up, and I put a video of it. We published, that was like one of the first fight videos that we had published, and it just, because it looks so cool. Like, it looks like a comet. Like, I don't know if you've seen this, but in the video, it just looks. We just had this wonderful ball, and it had a few trailing ships behind people who weren't using their prop mods or who had lagged out from just the sheer number of ships. And so we're orbiting over our station in this like awesome comet looking ball, especially when you back out. It just looks like a blue comet that's moving through the system, and that was one of the coolest things. So then a couple of the fleets jump on us, and at one point we have, I mean, you can see it on the longer video, we've got 3 fleets. So we've got one right in front of us, and then 2 on either side, so we're kind of triangulated between these fleets, and we're just moving like just, it was really cool to be on Discord for this one too, because everyone was just super calm. Everyone had lags and disconnects and stuff. It's what happens in the big battles now. So it's really problematic, and we're really looking forward to time dilation or something to help resolve this problem. But you could just see the ball move, right? You could just see this comet trail one direction into a fleet, and it would just melt the fleet. And then you can see it trail back the other way and melt the next fleet, right? And then trail back and then melt that, and people are warping off and everything. And then everyone dispersed. And one of my guys said he wished he had recorded it, because we only have one exit out of our system. So he said, I was sitting on the other side as a scout, and you could just see pods. It was just gate fire pod, gate fire pod, gate fire pod, gate fire pod. He's like, that was the coolest thing. So next time we'll probably set someone to record that. But just, it was just really neat to visually to see that way the game mechanic worked. So that was one of my favorite fights, just visually for that mechanic.
And for those listening who aren't aware, like EVE Online will use time dilation, where they essentially slow down the system then to allow everybody to process and render and be able to participate. It also results in much longer battles, but it's very fun to watch too, especially when you get all these ships with their big shield bubbles out, and it's the graphics of the game, especially for it being a mobile platform, are very nice.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. So the next fight, major war, right, was closest what I can call to it, would be the one where the 8 alliances attacked us. This time,
were they also on a stroll, or was this a specific coordinated hit?
So it was coordinated by Elysium.
Okay.
As far as I know, because that's where we got the intel that it was coming from, was from Elysium. That was the whole, I posted.
Y'all hear this,
earlier.
Elysium? Y'all got spies. You better take care of your house.
You do. That was posted, was the scorched Esoteria, right? They were going to come scorch Esoteria. And I know it's very risque. And so, and this is where Sovereign first joined the fight. So ABAL Alliance and Trimark joined the fight. And I went to their staging system while they were forming up. I just parked one of my Mama Rex clones over there, and I'm like, Sandbrick, what are you doing? We have a non-aggression pact. So like we've never shot at them once this whole game. And he's like, yeah, they didn't tell me where we were going. You know, we thought we were gonna go fight the goons in Delve. We didn't have any idea.
That's the opposite direction, though.
I know.
Like, did you not realize when you took like a ride at Syndicate, like, wait, where are we going? Hold on.
Right. No, I know.
This is not the right spot.
I know. We have some really, if you could see the memes that were going on in our Discord, they're so funny. People were like, Operation, or Scorched Esoteria, Scorched Elf. Okay. But anyway, that was, we get it. They didn't necessarily know what was going on, which is fine. We've always gotten along with them, and they've been relatively nice guys to chat with and stuff. So we haven't had any issues, but that was a surprise to us. We're like, what are you doing here? So all these different alliances grouped up. We were formed up. We waited for over 3 hours for them to come attack us. It took them that long to get organized.
See, that's why I'm a pirate. Small ops. I ain't got to wait 3 hours for anything. No, I want to get into something.
We were like, and again, the memes during this, I didn't realize it because I was busy like trying to coordinate things and helping out with Fleet Command and stuff. So I didn't realize it, but the memes like in our meme channel were just, all of our pilots were bored and making some pretty great ones. But then they did finally show up. So they all showed up, and they gathered up in the system next door to us. We had one or two guys in pods that came into the system and tried to, and we were all undocked, just waiting. We didn't stay by the gate because we were like, all right, come bring a fight to us. We weren't going to try to do a gate camp. and so we were out undocked, and again, kind of in this really cool ball. It just was really
Mhm.
neat looking. And this time it was big enough to be its own Death Star, right? It was great. And they tried to find warp ins on us from several directions, and then they just left. They left. They never
Jeez.
came into the system.
Okay.
And so
Anticlimactic.
except that we, so then the whole time, the Vev guys, they live nearby us. And so, and this is kind of, I had talked to them for the first time the night before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're super nice. And so I was like, they said, you know what? These same guys have been harassing us. And so I was like, okay, if they're harassing you, then, they're going to come see us at this time. So that alliance had put 50 ships together, and they were back headed towards Paragon Sol. They had their fleet. They were like, we'll come help you. And I'm like, no, dude, don't do that, because you're going to jump into this big army and get wiped out, right? Don't do that. Like, just chill. We got this. And, but they were waiting, and that was towards Paragon Sol. So this group of like 300 or more ships had fleeted up. Some of them went north, and some of them went south towards Paragon. And so the guys that went north, Sovereign and his group, he says he brought 70 battle cruisers, but we only saw 52 by scout. So I don't know. But I'm sitting there texting to Kerensky because no one else knew about the Ukrainians, and I was like, dude, they're gonna get this big giant army is about to run into 50 guys, and we got to get over there. So he just made the decision on the spot. We went through the gate. Red was waiting on the other side, and they're good fighters. We appreciate Red all the time. But they gave us a good fight. I put some screenshots of that up. There's like 20 of them versus like 220 of us, and still they were bonsai. So they weren't gonna walk home, man. They weren't gonna walk home. So so they stayed there, and it did slow us down for a minute at the gate, right? And then the gate itself with the new mechanic doesn't allow large groups to jump through it. I don't know that people know this. So when you're moving with a giant army, it cues you. And so what we had every single gate jump was, "Dear Capsuleer, please wait." Every gate jump, "Dear Capsuleer, please wait."
So it's like you were stuck at Jita again. You're just having to spam the button.
We were.
Yeah.
We cheated all the way through to
Yeah.
them. So then I think it was like one or two systems out. Sovereign's fleet was there. They engaged with us for like a second and then booked. And I think we got one battle cruiser. They went north, but we knew that the Vev guys were south of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we headed. So we continued on our path south. And then, and the red guys had kited us for a little while. So we popped quite a few of their ships, and I posted some of those, but they kited us for a while. We're like, all right, we'll be back for you guys. We got to go and handle this. So the rest of the fleet, Elysium fleet, and some of the other guys, the Trimark guys, had run into the Vev guys at that point. And they had this big fight, which I posted the Vev video as well. And I think that's my favorite video of the game so far.
Well, let me hit you with another one. I know told you to name some of your favorites, but just in all fairness, name me your favorite battle y'all lost. Like they actually got you, and it was still good fun. Now, don't act like you got to think hard to find one. Come on.
No, I think no, I'm trying to decide actually between two of them. So I think the one, and that's really was my third favorite of our suggestion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's my favorite because it sucked what happened with Vev, but I really liked the battle that we did on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for me to call it a loss simply because we couldn't get back to the fight.
Yeah.
But I think, and we've talked about this with my fleet commanders and stuff, I think the boss would have dropped anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so even with the full fleet on field, But we did have 140 ships sitting there going, we can't get back. And we do have video on that, by the way.
Yeah.
So it had just totally disappeared from our overview. And part of the video, you can hear our Discord in the video too, where we're just like, oh shit, we can't warp back to this thing. No one could find it. And I had a scout that was cloaked on the station during the whole thing. So it was, I could see it. It was up. We weren't sure it was still taking damage for a minute. And we're like, okay, it is still taking damage. We need to get back. We need to get formed up and get back there because we had so much in the way of lags and disconnects, and we had bounced away. But none of us who had bounced away. So I had two characters there, one sitting there looking at it. I can dock in it. I can see it. The one that was over on planet, we couldn't see it. So we bounced around to all these different planets to see if it would show up on our overview, but it did not. So that.
And Vev was
That
that's one
sucked.
of your basically little ally corps that had their own station dropped. It got jumped, it got popped, and y'all weren't able to get to it in time to stop that.
Yes and no. I mean, so that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and maybe this is a good time to talk about it.
Let's segue.
Because, okay, let's segue. Because I hadn't watched the Sovereign videos or anything about us because I'm busy and I'm doing a lot of stuff, and I just didn't want to get wrapped up into all that. I just, people told me stuff and they were mad about it, and I was like, look, and I even posted it on Sovereign's thing. I said, look, if let it go. If there's something going on, you just send me a DM. You have a DM channel with me. You can talk to us. But I hadn't actually watched it. So there are 3 things that I wanted to address on it. And one of those things, it is the first one for me, was the Vev stuff. So I wanted to take a minute to talk
just
about
real quick, saying that y'all, and by the way, anything that is said right now, just FYI, because I'm friends with Sovereign, this is not a shot at Sovereign or any of his videos or any of his content. It's simply what he said, which was essentially that Jen abandoned Vev at the outpost.
Well, what he said is, this just shows that if you're paying Genesis for protection and it doesn't go their way on the battlefield, they'll throw you under the bus.
Yeah.
That's what he said. And he said it at 4:43 of his video timestamp. And so so you told me about this and you phrased it the way you just did when you told me about it last night. And I was like, well, that pisses me off. Who would say, why would you kick at Vev? They're nice guys. Like, I misunderstood it to be more like what you said. But now that I watched the video, I understand a lot more and a lot better about what's going on, because it became immediately apparent that it did not occur to Sovereign for a moment, not an instant did it occur to him that we aren't paid, that there's not a payment relationship. We aren't paid for protection. We don't charge them rent. Genesis doesn't have any renters at all. We don't do that anywhere near us. So that second battle I was describing, that was the first time we got to know Vev.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time talking to their leader. And we've had translators, we've had people that we can communicate together. And here's what and we said, why don't you guys just join us? Like, you're living right by us, and what he told us was, as far as we know, we are the first and only all Ukrainian alliance in the history of EVE, including EVE Online. And these guys, and he said, look, we don't want any wars. We just want to have a place where we can live and live peacefully and go out and have some fights and stuff, but we don't want to get involved in all this nonsense. And I was like, okay, these guys are awesome. And they fight wonderfully. You can see it in their videos. They have really good heart. Our guys started calling them Klingons. They're like, we fight like Klingons. And yeah, exactly. And just they're just cool guys. They're cool guys to talk to. I see them in their Discord. They're nice. They're nice guys. They have a lot of heart. They love to fight. That's Vev.
Yeah.
And so they told us less than 24 hours ahead of time that this thing had been dropped and that it and what its timer was, which was not the ideal time for us. Although we can put a fleet together any time of day.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the size of the fleet and the amount of warning we need in order to put together a bigger fleet. So we said, okay, and their leader told me directly, and I was like, oh shit, we have got it. Like, they're living down by a bunch of reds. Someone's going to see this thing. It's going to be just content.
Yeah.
And so I made an announcement to my alliance. So we're going to form up. It's going to be the middle of Friday on a work day. I rescheduled appointments.
Wow.
We just were like, okay, we can do this. And a bunch of my guys did, because everyone loves Bev. They're nice guys, and they fight like wildcats. It's great. So never at any point has there been any kind of payment or protection or anything like that. But that never crossed Sovereign's mind when he made his video about us and said that. Now I have to think, I'm not going to say that he's deliberately lying, because I don't think he is. I just think it didn't cross his mind that
or
wasn't
that
the
he was
relationship
misinformed. Because
Or,
the truth is, anytime we have these situations happen, there is misinformation spread. And it was at the end of this video, we don't want this entire video to be about toxicity, but sadly it's in the game. So we got to talk about it at some point. But
Right.
that's part of it. And it's funny to hear it worded as propaganda, because when you think propaganda, you think more real life scenarios, but it's true. And it does come from both sides. I mean, I talked to you about this last night. Being 3,700 members, you're going to have a random scattering of a-holes who run their mouth.
Oh yeah.
And that gets passed along. And it's always the very vocal minority that gets everybody in trouble. So, I mean, it very well could be, just like y'all have spies in Elysium, there could be someone from Jen saying, yeah, man, we charge alliances $50 million a week just to be part of us. I'm like, well, okay. I mean, so that could be the information he has. I don't know.
Right. But he's got an open channel to ask us anything. And so, or he could ask them if they're paying us anything. And
Yeah, for sure. Look, I'm not saying he can't. I say we'll get into the soft thing in a little bit, because my ultimate goal would be for all of this to get cleared up. And, because there's been things said on both sides that have gotten to where I know exactly what happened. People got feelings hurt. So when feelings get hurt, you start saying things you shouldn't say. That's just, it's a natural reaction.
And really, my goal on that is to talk about Bev, because I like them. They're nice guys. And when we talk about wanting to increase the quality of a community, those are guys that we want to support to increase the quality of the community. The amount of justified pride that they have in their identity and being who they are, and just being good sports about stuff, man. There's no garbage. They're just being good sports. Has been awesome. And so we saw that. We don't I know there's no sovereignty right now, but we're pretty aggressive about people coming anywhere near us, because when they do, they tend to have hostile intentions. But these guys moved in, and they were just super cool. And we said, all right, look, we don't allow anyone else here, but
you can hang out.
You guys, you're cool. You can hang out.
Which actually makes me a little bit jealous, because in the time that we've talked, you've never once invited me over like, hey, we've got a system just for you guys. We love y'all.
Yeah,
y'all are fun. Y'all can come live right here. Set up your station. We're more than happy to look at your station. Yeah, just nope, never a once. Never a once.
Okay, officially, we will find a system for you. You guys want to come over? We'll find a system.
Zan Thomas, I know you're on chat. Leaders from RR. Esoteria, we've now got a little spot somewhere, probably like in the furthermost corner, like where they keep the trash and like the wrecked Condor 2s. But we've got a spot. We got a spot. We can recycle everything. That's what we can do.
That's just bring those scrap reprocessing skills. That's all. That's what we need. So
Zan says a place on one planet and no asteroid belts, and all the PI on that one planet is poor.
It's poor.
All of it.
Right. We'll find a juicy spot just like that for you guys. But yeah, so that's the thing about them. So we so anyway, it's the fight itself for that, and I guess we went off tangent, but the fight itself for that was a cool fight. it was a cool fight. That's what I said on Facebook. That's what I've said, and that's what Elysium said, which is another really important thing. Is wow, that was a good fight. Like we all lagged like crazy.
Yeah.
Right, and everyone shows their kill mails. This is what happened. We we trashed a ton of ships while we were there. It was a great fight. We had one of our fleet commanders in a Rapture Guardian that just flew in one direction the whole time, completely disconnected the entire fight.
Wow.
And you can hear him on our. He's like, what am I going to do? I can't even log back in. He would log back in for a split second, just to see his health go down, and then he would lose connection again. The split second, his health is a little further down, and just the whole fight was like that for him. So, and he is one of the trophy kill males. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
dude, but we've actually joked about that because so many people hit that ship that when you open the kill mail, it actually lags you out in game. It will
Really?
lag out your client to open the kill mail. Yes, for real.
Wish you would
So-
send me a screenshot. That would have been something great to throw on the screen. But that's awesome. That's hilarious. How many? Can you at least see the participant number at the top where it says the participants?
Yes. I have not been able to get it open, so I don't know. But this is where we learned one other interesting fact is that the participants on it were also from our side, like a bunch of blues. And he's like, everyone shot me, what the hell? and then we looked at it, and it's because of the Guardian. He had gotten the Guardian bubble off a couple times, and so anyone we discovered that it shows up on the kill mail when anyone is inside the bubble. So if they're being shot at,
shooting through the bubble counts as damage to the bubble.
Anyone who's shooting at them is this is what we as close as we configure, and there may be a whole show about this later on about how Genesis got it wrong, but as far as we can tell,
nice reference there. Nice reference.
I know, right? As far as we can tell, anyone who is friendly inside the bubble who was being shot at, that bubble absorbs that damage. So we think that damage is transferred onto the kill mail as coming from the blue target.
That makes sense.
So that's why his kill mail is so large, right? Because he had a large bubble, and people were getting shot at. So that's another thing that was funny. But anyway, it was a really good fight. Like it was great. Other than lagging, I had my scout that was cloaked. I never lost connection on my combat alt, though I lost connection on repeatedly, and. So that, again, it's just part of the struggle of the game mechanics that we know they're going to fix. We love the game. We want them to do that. But other than that, it was a big brawl. It was one of the biggest brawls. So in terms of the end goal of keeping the POS up and standing, if we could, that was lost. And so to us, that's a lost battle.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that'd be a tactical loss. You lost the POS, so
it's a tactical.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but the fight itself was awesome. I mean, it was one of the cool things to say, hey, I was there for that. So that's why it was number 3 on my 3 favorite battles in the game, or 3 favorite wars in the game. So that's the best I can do for you on.
Well, I like those. I think those are great examples. I mean, because like with my corp and my alliance, with us being pirates, all of my stories are more like the dramatic one-on-one fight we'd have. I mean, there's been plenty of times that I've run up on somebody, gotten locked, he's almost dead, and then 2 of his friends and CNIs come down on me. I'm like, damn, there went that kill. But that's just it's a different game style play where we run more in small PvP groups. Being a Scourge of the Galaxy, and you guys can form a 300-person fleet and wreck massive shops. So, but we mentioned a little bit. Let's go ahead and hit the sovereign point. Now, I got to make a preface to this. Me and Mama have already talked about this like for 2 hours beforehand. There are some things that we disagree is not the right word, but we see it from different angles. I'm coming from the outside of, I'm not part of either side of the war. I don't care. I'm just looking at both of y'all doing these different things and saying what I see. She's, of course, seeing it from the Gen Fed side, which means, and people see this as a negative thing. You have a natural bias. You do. Sov's team and all Elysium have a natural bias. Gen Fed have a natural bias. You're automatically going to, you're in your mind, you're like, they're lying, or they're exaggerating, or they're trash talking. So let's talk about the first Sov video, which was the one that, the one before Hypocrite. The Hypocrite video.
Okay,
Did you not
I have
watch
to tell you, though,
one?
I didn't watch them all. I didn't watch them all because I don't have time to do that
That's
most of
fair.
the time. And
The main
the
thing
only
I want
one
to
that
hit
I
on
watched
is
was this last one.
yeah, the main parts I want to hit on is just how we handle toxic players in and out of our alliance. So where it's in our group
Oh yeah.
or coming from an outside source, what we consider toxic. And we're only using Sov as an example because anybody in GenFed, Lithium, Sov, etc. knows this has turned into a thing. It's turned into a thing.
Oh,
Like Karinsky, who's one of your it's probably your right hand, like your number 2, right? Or definitely one of your high end
Yeah.
CEOs. Has
Right.
has
And
had some
so
serious arguments with Who's a Fish, with Sovereign over this. Comments have been left on YouTube. Y'all made an entire post about, hey, here's what's acceptable or not. And I actually brought this to you. I was like, look, he made this whole post about what's acceptable, and then without wording Sovereign's name, called him trash and his YouTube channel garbage. So I know.
and what he said.
I mean,
Okay, go ahead.
we could throw up the quote. Like it's, and this is what I told you. His 4th paragraph contradicted his 1st paragraph, and I understand why this is happening because frustrations arise when you feel like you're being personally attacked on a stream and you're being personally attacked. I'm not saying you're not. I'm not saying you are. I'm simply looking at the actions that are happening. For Karinsky to come out with a post saying, we're not going to do any of this stuff, which 100% agree with. You shouldn't do any of that stuff. And we'll get to in a second how y'all actually do take care of that when it's brought to your attention properly. But in the same regard, there are these instances that happen, and that's what we need to discuss a little bit, how we can kind of cool this down. I don't want all these raging volcanoes between CCs and players over anything except killing ships. Have fun, make content, don't go after each other personally. So let's hit into it.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there.
It is, yeah.
I disagree about what Kerensky said in that post that was inside our Discord. I think he said that I think he called the show a dumpster fire, and I think he said the show was garbage, and it was.
No, well,
and
he specifically listed the YouTube channel too. That's why I threw it in there. The show and the channel.
And I think it was the channel, as the channel has become almost entirely about Genesis, right? And trashing us. So I'm not sure I disagree with him necessarily on that point. And so the issue that he said that is not acceptable is telling people to die, or telling people, wishing them real life harm, or that kind of thing. Not okay. And we were left to make only that post on our Discord because not one single thing had ever been brought to us. Not one.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I actually brought you something, and apparently that nobody had, Sovereign. And this is not a shot at Sovereign. Sovereign's style is to not send it to it. He would rather take it directly to authorities of Discord and the game. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. That's just what he does, apparently.
And so that's what I wanted to comment on, because I think, there were 3 things that I wanted to talk about today, and this is the second one. So the first one was Vev. The second one is the most upsetting thing that absolutely no one is commenting on in that video that I saw this morning, and it's at timestamp 7:11, and it says it's not my job to get them removed from their alliance, and it's not my job to give them screenshots, and that's his choice.
Yeah.
I have said repeatedly in every stream that I've appeared on that if you have a problem with one of my members, tell me, because we're a large group and we're not always going to see everything. And there's always going to be that one guy. And so if there's that one guy and we don't see it, tell us and we'll deal with it immediately.
Yeah.
And so
just to clarify, I disagree with Sovereign on that point. If something's happening from an alliance that they're crossing the line, not only report it to the game, so that player probably gets a temporary ban that they deserve, but report it to the alliance so they know they have a person in their group doing these things, because it only makes the alliance look bad. It makes GenFed look bad if they are doing and saying these things.
It's not even about GenFed. And this is the thing that is the most upsetting thing in that whole video. He can say whatever the hell he wants to say about me. The most upsetting thing in that video is the idea that we don't work as a community, even if we're shooting at each other, to get rid of people like this. People who care about this community and care about not having that kind of that kind of level of stuff, the
Yeah,
things that he was
toxicity.
showing,
Yeah.
beyond even normal toxic, just
Mhm.
nasty, like
Yeah.
nasty stuff.
Death
Well,
threats
if
and
you
yeah, I
care,
mean
if
just way
you
past the
care
line.
about this community, then you're going to bring it. So I will always bring it. If someone says something like that to me, I will bring it to the attention of the leader if I can find him.
Mhm.
And they can do whatever it is that they want to do with it, and that's the part that reflects on them, is how they respond. But what reflects on me is how much do I care about the community when it comes to actually calling out that individual to people who can do something about it.
Mhm.
So if there's someone who is doing that in Genesis Federation and it happens to you, you send me a screenshot, send me anything so that I know what's going on and who it is, and we'll deal with it immediately. Because I will never take the tack that it's not my problem. That's not okay. It's
Yeah.
not okay if you want to develop a good community, and it's the wrong message to send to as an alliance leader.
Yeah.
The wrong message. It is my problem.
And just
It is
to
my
speak
problem. It's a community
on
problem.
Mama Rex here and my interactions with her, once again, I have not taken either side in the war. I've never even got to fight either side, like, because I've actually reached out to both and I've been angry with both. I've reached out to Sav, I've reached out to Mom. I'm like, hey, when there's content, invite me. I'd love to shoot some lasers or something, actually cannons, because I'm Mimitar master race. But no invites from either, so thanks guys. But I can say that every time she has been shown, so like, for example, the comment that Karinsky left on the YouTube video, you agreed with me that there are parts of that should not have been said. You agree. There are lines that get crossed, and even if it's your own team, you've said, yeah, I mean, because, and the comment, by the way, when I edit this, the YouTube version, I'll throw up the comments, and they're not meant to throw shade at Karinsky. They're not meant to throw shade, just presenting what's happening so that we can prevent these type of things in the future. Karinsky got into an argument with Who is a Fish, who's another wonderful content creator that we have. And she simply said, look, you crossed the line. You need to take this comment down. Karinsky didn't want to do that. And even Mom was like, look, yeah, he crossed the line. We don't need to say stuff like that. And the one time, or the two times I brought things to your attention, which is, I can throw up the member now, there was a player called a Church Burner, which just gives off the name, like, we know you're going to be a problem, who crossed the
And
line,
this
and
happened.
y'all immediately removed him.
And this happened last night. Okay, so and this is what I want to talk about. This is why this second point is so important,
Mm-hmm.
because someone from Sovereign's team gave this to us in the night and said, please don't put my name on a stream. So I'm not going to. But he said, please don't put this on a stream. Someone gave this to us in the night. I was asleep, but we're an alliance that never sleeps. That means we have executors that don't sleep. So they brought it to Alondria.
Mm-hmm.
And Alondria immediately was like, oh my God, when she saw this. And I woke up to it this morning before I even had coffee, reached to my cell phone that was right next to me. And I was like, oh my God, when I saw this, it was up on the executor channel. So it's only us executor. She's like, this guy is got to go.
Yeah.
This is what I was just sent. And the whole comment from everybody sent to us, all the screenshots. And so I was like, oh shit, we had a person who had commented on COVID 2 days ago before all of this YouTube nonsense happened. And I'll back up. We had a guy who had commented, we were attacked by a Chinese alliance and they came into our system, and this guy was out mining.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, while we had our fleet in there, what was his exact terms? He said, I hope they sanitize their hands before coming to BZ. I don't want to catch Kung Flu.
Yeah.
And so there was no discussion. There was no tribunal. There was no anything. Kerensky got in his ship, and we took the fleet over there, and we shot him in his 100 million ISK miner, Venture 3, with ion miners on it, by the way. But that's why it was so expensive. But we just went and shot him. There was no discussion.
Yeah.
None. And once he was shot and potted, then he was kicked out of the alliance immediately. Because that is our response when we see it.
Mm-hmm.
If we see it, we deal with it. So then this dude, and again, I woke up to it and I was like, oh my God, this is like, who the fuck says these things? Oh, sorry, I said I wouldn't F-bomb.
Oh, bleep. Elandria, can you do a timestamp for me so I can bleep that in the YouTube version? Thank you.
Please, thank you. Sorry.
It happens.
But I was I woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh, who says this? So then I go over to where the CEOs are, and I'm like, this has got to be dealt with. Hopefully this guy's out. And he was already kicked out of the alliance. He was already kicked off of our Discord. And
Yeah.
the CEO who had joined us a week ago apologized profusely and said, I'm sorry, it took me, he goes, I actually got a message about this an hour ago. It took me, I was with my, feeding my daughter and who's a toddler, and
Yeah.
I wasn't able to get on to deal with it, but I dealt with it as soon as I can. Our apologies, we love this alliance, that guy's out. So that's what I woke up to. And it
Mhm.
was given to us and dealt with immediately. And so
And that's how it should be.
it's not that you guys,
For any alliance. I mean, if something, and I'll say this now, if anybody from my corp or my alliance runs off and says something to you, because the worst thing about internet gaming is the anonymity that the keyboard gives you, because it gives you this, well, it doesn't give me, it gives some people this sense of power to say whatever they want to say, knowing good and well they would never say 99% of that in person to anybody. They'll say things they shouldn't say, and
and
it needs to be dealt with.
And that goes back to Alondria's point of, the old school LAN parties, being around a console.
Mhm.
Someone says something like that to you, if someone said, and I don't have I can't see the screen, so I don't have exact, I think he said, I hope you die of COVID or something. If someone said that to you in your house, like there's a good chance in a room full of gamers that you might get bopped in the nose. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
So just to throw it
So,
out, I'll
so
put
if
it
they don't,
on. I'll put it on YouTube. Just specifically what he said was, really, you just sit and cloak and kill miners. You're a scumbag. Hope you die of COVID. Have a fun time with your small kills, you useless piece of garbage. And he'd actually sent multiple messages before that weren't as bad. So it was a consistent string of this guy talking this way.
yeah.
And then finally, just one got so bad that it obviously crossed way too many lines. And I'll put that in the
Oh, so
YouTube
many.
version.
And so that's where, like, if you were at somebody's house and it was a LAN party, or it was, you're sitting around a console with a bunch of controllers, like, they would get their butt kicked. They'd get their butt kicked, or they'd at least get tossed out. Like,
Yeah.
there was that immediate face-to-face response, but you don't have that in such a broad game, so many people, and that internet anonymity. And so I got it.
It's like,
um,
it's like I know you can do it. I know.
I did. I was there. But that's so this is the kind of thing that can happen when you have that. But and we can't control that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to speak to another point about that of, well, if they're like this, then they're always like this. And I wanted to point out the logic to this one. First, if you're an alliance leader of any size, of any kind, even a CEO, then that's not true.
Yeah.
People
People can
will
change.
completely fly under the radar. They're not changing. They just fly. They just know it's not acceptable, so they won't do it in public. But they do it when they think, like a
Nobody's looking.
private message,
But I
when
will
they
say,
think
I've
no one's
also had
looking.
people change too. In my experience as a leader, a player in Star Trek Fleet Command had been just that toxic a-hole for over a year. He was just that guy. He would just come kill you randomly. He gained nothing. He would talk trash to DMs, and then finally, he got tired of being the single outcast, realized how his behavior was causing him to be ostracized, and changed his behavior. And it took months for people to finally accept that he was being different. But they can change. It's not all that common, but it can happen.
So here's the thing: is they obviously have people sitting in our Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And our Discord has thousands and thousands of people in it, right? And so they're sitting in our Discord. They're looking for things to put on streams to try and make us look bad. If there was somebody behaving this way in our Discord, does anyone really think that they wouldn't be splashed all over the stream instead of having Kerensky's post about don't be toxic on there?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. So these this if these people were out and proud and just toxic pieces of crap all the time, like, it would be splashed on every single Discord, on every single Facebook, everywhere. And it's not, because they aren't. And if they were, we'd kick them. And so whenever we get information that someone's done this, we kick them. Or if we see them do it, like the guy 2 days ago who did it in Solar System, and I'll send you that screenshot and I'll send you the kill mail.
Okay.
No time delay. And so So just because I know you're going to get a bunch of comments about that too.
I'm sure we are. Look,
But
I realize the YouTube is going to already have people from both sides getting into arguments. It's the nature of the thing. But if we can
sure,
quell it as much as possible, say, look, here's how GenFed wants to handle things, and here's how everybody should handle these situations. I mean, like I said, my ultimate goal,
yeah.
and already in the Twitch comments, when I said that I would love for us to take this Sovereign, Karinsky, GenFed, all this thing, and kind of neutral it out, get back to playing games, everybody's like, well, it sounds nice, but it feels like it's on the upswing. It doesn't have to be on the upswing. It's only on the upswing if we choose to let it be on the upswing. And at some point, I
Right.
told you this, at some point, somebody has to be the quote unquote proverbial bigger man, whoever it is. Whether it's Sav no longer making content about this, even if the war keeps going on, whether it's Karinsky no longer making comment in Sav's videos, or whoever is involved. No names need to be thrown. Just at some point, we all have to be like, look, we're one community of gamers. It's a big galaxy, but we're still the same community, and we need to work together.
Well, and I've already said it. You invited me to come talk last night, and so that's why I'm here. But I'm sure that there will be uh, more reports back from our Discord.
Yeah.
I posted the link to the show for our guys, but I said this is going to be the only time I ever talk about this because
Yeah.
I'm over it.
Well,
Like I'm over it. I'm too busy for it. So
No, go ahead.
so I want to make sure that again we're super clear. If there is anything that's going on, we need to know about it so that we can address it. And you can decide to address it through the devs. You can address it by complaints. We welcome you to do so. Please tell us about it so that we have the opportunity to also act in a responsible way to our community. And I guarantee you that if your guys are doing it to us, we are also going to do the same thing because I do care about the community and the quality of the community. So that is one of those things that is very important to us. I will come to you. I can't force you to do one thing or another about the things that are said, but I can at least show it to you so you have the opportunity to deal with it. And for people like Sav and Who's a Fish and yourself or anyone, you can go to our Discord link. You can find us. You can just send me a direct PM because I'm already on the Eve Echoes Discord. So you don't even have to be on my Discord to send me a PM. And for people like Sav, we set up after the whole Doomsy thing, we set up a 3-way chat between him and Karinsky and myself, and it has been crickets, total silence about any of this stuff. And so, but those are channels that are available, and anyone who needs that channel can let me know because we'll deal with it.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to just I know I've taken up a lot of your time already. Some quick, fun, positive things, right? Because I know we were going to get into the drama version of it, and it's just part of gaming these days. It's just part of it. But I want you to give me, and this is on the spot, so I know you love on the spot stuff. Give me 3 tips for corporation and alliance leaders for growing a small, effective, and fun environment for their players.
Okay, growing a small, effective one, I don't know. Ours grew out of control.
Yeah, scale yours down.
Yeah.
What would you do if you had to start over from scratch right now?
So if I had to start over from scratch, one is make sure that your alliance or your corporation is scalable. And keep things that are active and fun to do. So one, we try to keep our community all as close to the same place as possible.
Yeah.
A lot of people and communities are spread out all over the place. We try to keep ours grouped up as much as possible because it creates a community environment where everybody is grouped up with everybody else. So when you look at our Discord, you see we have lots and lots of groups going all the time, just around the clock, and each group is mixed. There's a few by themselves doing their own corporate thing, but they're mixed corporations inside these groups because people are developing that feeling of teamwork and community within the alliance. And so that's one of the things that we're very serious about. It's the job of leadership and it's the job of the alliance to support the people.
Yeah.
So you ask what's Genesis? Genesis is every single pilot in Genesis. Genesis is the people that make up who we are. I'm for better or worse, I'm the secretary, right? Or I'm the person that gets the pot shots taken at them because that's the position that I have.
Mhm.
But the people who show up when there's a home defense, it's the people who are there and who are offering to help. Take those offers, delegate, work with those people, and make sure that your people understand how important that they are to you and your organization, because your organization is really their organization. It's not about you. It's not about how great some leader is or anything like that. It's about all of those people who are putting in their time, who are showing up for call to arms, who are giving you those great battles on both sides that make this a fun game.
Yeah.
So keeping that perspective when you're developing uh, an alliance or a corporation, I think will help be a good guiding star as to how to organize it properly and what the proper priorities are for that organization. How can you support the players? How can you support the pilots? Those are questions that you should be asking every single time you're making decisions.
I think for me, just throw, especially for those wanting to create their own alliance, because I know when the game first started, it felt like an insurmountable task to get this billion ISK. And now it's like, oh, only a billion ISK? No big deal. But if you're creating your own alliance, one thing that I would stress, and this is just from my own experience in multiple games, is even if you're the largest corp and you're the leader of that alliance, you want to empower everybody that's in the group. So one thing that I do is if we've got 10 alliances in the corp, everybody has one vote, even if the corp is 200 members or their corp is 50 members. Everybody has an equal vote as a leader. And what that does is it helps empower everybody that you're working with to not feel like they're just some vassal that's catered to the big PvP group, because that's what we are. I mean, Revs Reavers, I think, is like at 143 right now. We're the biggest. We're the pirates. We kill a lot. We probably kill the most. But that doesn't mean we're more important than OEMI, who is our small industrial group of like 30 people. But if I literally go to them and say, hey, I need 10 CNIs, I will have them like within a couple of hours paid for. So that group, 7 times smaller than me, is just as important as my group. So making sure you're empowering everybody and making them feel involved. And if the small groups need mining might be boring to you, but last night everybody in my corp and alliance can attest to how much Rev hates mining. There's nothing in this game I would rather do less of. I spent 2 hours doing mining patrols, making sure our miners were safe in nullsec, and I hated every second of it. And I complained the whole time, but you know what? I was there, I supported, and we ended up getting several good, fun kills from it because somebody wanted to pop our miners. We killed them twice, and then they brought their CAN-U for some reason, thinking that they could take on 10 ships with a CAN-U, and we popped a CAN-U. So, whatever you have to do, just make sure you're involving your group, delegating the responsibilities, and promoting a fun environment that everybody feels like they, one, can contribute to, and another part is they feel like they can come at any time and do what they want to do, not just what you want to do.
And that goes beyond the leadership,
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be about the pilots. It has to be about the pilots. If you stop at leadership level, it's not going to work. Because people get busy, they do their own things. Some people take a CEO position and they really don't know what they're doing with it, or they just don't, or things happen. I mean, this is a crazy, anyone who thinks 2020 is just totally easy, right?
Yeah.
They haven't been
Oh
paying
my gosh.
attention. So things happen, and it makes it so that it's really difficult to run something, and someone might not be really willing to step down or trade off the mantle a little bit so that other people can pick up slack. And if that happens as an alliance leader, you need to be paying attention to that too and make sure that the pilots are being supported, just being supported. And we had one group that was having internal struggles, and they were right at the cusp of having trouble staying going. And they came and talked to us about it and told us about it, and we said, look, I put my own corporation, and speaking of mining, right, this is what reminded me of the story. We said, okay, we're going to go and we're going to do a 4-hour mining op, and we're just going to mine as much as we can for 4 hours straight. Sorry. But we're just going to mine as much as we can for 4 hours straight, and we're going to give you everything we got. We're not going to charge you anything. We're just going to give you what we got, see if it gives you an economic boost to help pick up what's been going on, because they had things that were just not within their control that happened to them. So we did that, and it helped. And now they produce our ships. The ships that we brought to the battle the other day are produced by these guys, and the ships we brought to the battle the week before, produced by these guys.
So,
And so
one curious question here, and another shout out to Vev, who I'd actually love to meet a Ukrainian-based group because I love meeting new people. But are y'all going to do that same thing for Vev? You know, losing the POS and everything, or y'all going to organize? Hey, we're going to go get you all the materials you need, because game reason or not, we're going to get you set back up. Is that the type of thing that
so
GenFed does?
so for Vev, we've talked about it a couple different ways, and we're kind of waiting to see what they want to do. And part of that is about pride too.
Yeah.
They built everything themselves and did everything themselves, and and there's a gorgeous ship as well that ended up getting popped from their side. But they did that themselves, and they have, like I said, they're proud of what they've built, and they should be because it's awesome. And so we did not want to just come in and say,
Fair enough.
we'll buy you a new one, right? We were happy to blow up our ships as much as we did, and blow up other people's ships and all that stuff. But if they want help, they can reach out to us at any time.
Awesome.
And if they need help, they can reach out to us at any time. And it was one of the discussions that we had amongst leadership too, was, how do we help them? Because we want them to thrive, even if, regardless of where they are, we want them to thrive because they have they're just cool dudes. And I do encourage you to talk to them. And if you want, I'll put you in contact with their leader too.
Yeah, for sure.
And we also have translators too. So
recruit them away from GenFed.
Well, they're not part of GenFed.
Yeah, I know.
So,
they're friendly though. They're friendly. If you allow them to live there, they're friendly.
They are friendly, and
they're like the adopted kid. I mean, they're part of the family. Okay, they're adopted.
Yeah, and they speak Russian though, and we do have translators. So if you I don't know if you have them, but if you want to,
I don't think we have a Russian. No, we have French, German, Australian, because you need one to talk to Australians. Yeah, we've got a couple, but we don't have Russian. So
we brought in an Australian corporation. They said, yeah, we're bringing some other guys with us, but they're from Sydney, so we're like, okay, what does that mean?
Yeah,
and they're like, oh, they'll be nice guys.
They'll be nice.
It'll be okay. We're like, okay, so this is something we didn't understand, but that's okay. Anyway, yeah, so totally, that's one of the things within Genesis. What we try to do is to create that, just try to help people out as best we can, offer them materials and work within programs. And if there's anyone who's struggling, we try to have them come to us so we can figure out how we can write the course for them a little bit, and it keeps them from disintegrating as best we can. So that's keeping that in mind, but keeping it in mind all the way down to the pilot level is really important. And the thing that I see most, because I interview CEOs all day, every day, and the thing that I see the most that is sometimes problematic is that people are not really looking all the way down at the pilot level, and they need to. Even for me, I can only do so much. I try to, post announcements and debriefs and after reports as best I can. We try to talk about it in comms if something happens, but that it just is what it is. But the thing that I think is the most important is creating that family community and creating and just helping to encourage that with people. And I'm going to circle all the way back because, again, the only thing, so you've got someone who's in our Discord who clearly has access to our Discord. And the only thing they could come up with was Kernsky's post. So again, it's like, if I've got thousands of people in my Discord.
I'm there too.
So
I'm
you've seen
waiting.
It then.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. No.
So yeah, and so I've got, there's all these people bouncing around our Discord, and all of these Genesis pilots bouncing around our Discord, and that's the best they can do. The best thing that could possibly be posted about me personally was this: I talked in local, right? and without understanding our rules at all, right? I talked in local. Okay, if that's what you got to say about me, if that's the dirt that you got on me, great. That means that we're doing something right.
Yeah.
And if that's the dirt that you can come up with from our Discord, great. That means we've got something right. When you asked me at the very beginning, like, what is Genesis?
Mm-hmm.
We are Genesis, and we're Genesis because all of us work together. There may be outliers, and if so, we'll find them and we'll root them out. Help us find them, we'll root them out if you see one.
I
But
mean, you did drop an
generally,
F-bomb on my channel, so maybe there is a dark side to Mama. There might be.
there is.
Yeah.
There is. I did already say I'm an evil space tyrant, so
Yeah.
there is that. I didn't hide that either. Um, so if that's who we are as Genesis. That this is the dirt that can be brought up about us. Okay, good. That it's that kind of thing that makes me love this community. People
Mm-hmm.
ask me all the time, why do I spend 2 full-time jobs worth of time every week on
Yeah.
this game? And it's because of all of these guys. It's because someone can scour our Discord looking for dirt on us,
Mm-hmm.
and this is all they come up with.
Well, I
What
love the
kind of
family
community?
aspect. Like I think a lot of people on the outside will undervalue the importance of the friendships and the connections we make in these games. I mean, my father died right at 2 weeks ago, and because of these type of games, and then these type of connections I made, I'm able to get on here and get away and feel like I'm with people. I mean, the obviously real life interactions are important. I'm not saying become the hermit that lives in the hole of a tree and does nothing but play video games all day, but it's still the connections and friendships you build here are just as real as any other friendship. And I think one thing that I'd like to throw into this is whether you're in Gen Fed, Elysium, Orp, whatever alliance corp you're in, just remember that you never know what the person on the other side of the screen is going through when you say something. And that goes for Sovereign. Anybody that knows Sovereign knows he's going through a lot of stuff recently. And when you go through things, it makes you act differently, react differently. I mean, Kerensky can have something going on I don't know about. I'm only naming names of people that I know, not just picking names out the sky. Just remember that when you're playing a game, that you don't know what's going on in somebody's life. And sometimes people just have bad days. Sometimes people are having bad years. Shout out 2020. And just to treat everybody how you would like to be treated. I know it sounds so elementary and so basic, but sometimes it's good to be reminded of this. It's
And on that note, too, yes and no. Um,
no,
People have bad days. I have bad days. I have bad years.
yeah,
And stuff happens to all of us. That stuff that happens to us doesn't make us do something. We do things. And so
hmm
if it's not because you've had a bad day, it's not an excuse to be a jerk. And I'm not going to
well,
cuss because I've already cussed. But what that means is, in the same way that we need to keep in mind that the other person on the other side of the keys
hmm
has other real life things going on, look at yourself as well. So
yeah,
I encourage everybody within myself, within my corporations, within my alliance, if you're having a bad day and you're pissed off about something, log out.
yeah,
If you cannot stop yourself from being a jerk in game, log out. You are not having fun. You're
yeah.
not having fun.
Well,
I don't
the
watch those videos
comment.
and go, that guy's having fun.
Yeah, the only reason I make that simply because, yes, I'm not saying it excuses a person's actions, but we all are adults and understand that it does influence our actions. It doesn't make them for us, but it does influence.
Certainly.
So, what I am simply requesting, because I think this will help lower some of the hostility that arises, is we just got to remember to make sure that we have our empathy meters a little bit higher, especially when it's in screen. You don't know what's going on. And I said, I'm not excusing any actions because we all do it. I mean, I'll admit, yesterday, my hurricane got gate camped. I don't care right now. It's not a big deal. But at the time, it got gate camped because I only use the hurricane for story missions. I have a 4-month-old baby. Watching the baby, you look at the screen, hurricane's getting popped. I got mad and I didn't play for about an hour and a half. And then after that, fine, no big deal. I mean, whatever it is, whether it's a real life thing like a family member passing or an actual in-game thing, if something happens, just step back, take a breath. And if you're on the opposite side, if somebody snips at you in Discord voice or in-game, just remember, you don't know what's going on. Try to be more empathetic and try to think before you launch out. And that goes for everybody. That goes for GenFed, myself, whoever. And you talked about that commenter who made the comment in Twitch, like you feel like it's on the upswing. That's how you prevent the upswing. Your level of empathy prevents the upswing. And it doesn't make what they're doing or saying right. It simply helps you prevent it happening or going into something more. And I agree, Cap. It can definitely be hard. It can be. But here's the thing. You're an adult. The demographic of this game is not 13-year-olds. We're adults. So we should be able to do it.
And I agree that we can, but I think it takes two. I think it takes two to tango.
Oh,
so
I agree with you.
You got it.
But we can't control what the other person's doing. We can only control us.
We can't control what the other person's doing. We can only control us, absolutely, and that means both on the giving and receiving end. So that means if you're having a bad day, log out, let it go. Those guys, but those guys, the same people, like the dude who said said that nasty thing last night.
Yeah.
We're not going to ask him if he's having a bad day.
For sure, yeah.
We're going to shoot him and boot him.
There's definitely repercussions for your actions. I'm simply saying I'm more speaking to the general thing of what's going on, not specific.
I know. Yeah, no, I know you are, and so that's what I'm saying. Like before it gets to that point, maybe those people are just not good people. I don't know because
it's like you saw when I sent you a screenshot. He had been talking for several days prior to that comment. And hadn't gotten no attention from it. Like there was no response to any of those comments. So maybe he just felt like in his twisted mind, he had to say something so grotesque to get the attention he might have been seeking. And he got kicked, and deservedly so. But from the grander scheme of how we approach these situations, just make sure your empathy meter is a little bit higher and you're a little bit more cautious in terms of watch what you say yourself, is all I'm saying, for all of us.
Okay.
Just because it goes back to what you said, I want to foster a great community in this game. And that only happens if we keep each other in mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Both how, keeping ourselves and how we feel in check, as well as keeping it in mind as to what others are going through. So I think it has to be both ways. It can't just be one way. You can't just sit there and let people, go after you because they're having a bad day. But at the same time, if you're having a bad day, you gotta log out.
Yeah.
And you do have to keep in mind that there is a human being on the other side of the keys.
Yeah.
There's a human being there. And what you say can really affect that person's play. It can affect how they're doing. You have no idea what's happening with them, so do try to keep it in mind when you're talking to them. And I think working together, that is how we can move forward with a better community. We want to fight. We want to fight in game. We want to blow up ships. We want to have fun wars and battles. We also want to go mine. You can cover your ears during this portion of the commentary.
Can we just talk about marketing and ratting and PvP? Just the areas I like, please. Not
all right. So we can go fight. We can mine. We can build ships. We can blow up ships. We can market. We can play the market. We can do all this stuff. It's such a cool game, and there's so much to do there. Like, let's go and just do those things and have fun doing them, and then we don't have to have all of this other nonsense going on in the background. So I will say it. I keep saying it. I have an open door. You absolutely can reach out to me. Anyone who's watching the stream, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to me.
Get close.
I am. You can reach out to me. You can find me on the Eve Echoes Discord. My name is there. You can search Mamasaurus Rex. I'm sure the spelling is on this video. If there's something going on, send me a screenshot, and I'll handle it. We'll handle it. Alondria handled it before I woke up this morning. So
thank you, Alondria.
If we know, thank you, Alondria. She's awesome.
She's the board queen, right? If I remember right.
She is. Yeah, so we
Woo! My
actually, well,
intel's
that's
right again! Yay!
Intel's right. Uh, um, yes, and she has a special fondness for tacos as well. Hi, Elijah. And
Nice.
so it was handled this morning. It's handled before I woke up this morning. So if stuff like that is going on, we are all connected with the sponsored Eve Echoes Discord. So you don't even have to be on our Discord. You can find us. You send us a message, and we'll handle it.
Yeah.
That's that, and we don't mess around about it. Like the guy that did it in front of us, shot and booted immediately,
Yeah.
no discussion. And that's how we handle those things.
That comic says, flood her inbox, keep her busy. I'm sure she would greatly enjoy. I will say this, as busy as she is, knowing that she runs almost a 4,000 person alliance, every time I've contacted her, even about something trivial, she's responded like within 30 minutes. I don't know why. I'm just some random YouTuber that's not part of her coalition, but she's more than happy to talk to you. And I said, just to recap real quick of this video, it's not about choosing sides. It's about promoting community togetherness, essentially. I know this really hippie and lame coming from a pirate who will gladly kill you and will kill you. Remember, shoot first. But in the end, our community is our game. And for the game to keep going, we can't have it escalate to points where we're going full on trash talk in videos and full on trash talk in game, telling people to die. That's way past lines. Way past lines.
Yep.
So no
Way up the
matter
line.
what scope you're seeing this through, whether you're seeing this through a GenFed lens, you're seeing it through an Elysium lens, whether you disagree with some of the things that, Mama Source Rex here says, doesn't matter. In the end, the main point of all this is we need to work together in terms of continue to make this a better and great game, because it's already so much better than Second Galaxy, which I know,
Oh my God.
so much
So much better.
It's so much better than Star Trek Fleet Command, where I come from, and it only gets better if we continue to, as a group, do this. And that's why I reached out to her. And I did not want to do one of those like, oh, I'm going to get everybody who's been offended. We're going to have Kerensky, Fish, Sov, Mama, and have a big shouting match. Because same thing. Kerensky, he wants a one-on-one. Come tell your side. This is Genesis side. Elysium, y'all want to come? We'll talk about it. And eventually down the road, we're going to have all these wounds healed. We're going to all be back together. And we'll have fun shooting each other in ships and giving me free Drammies for my interviews. So.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but
okay, fine. I'll take a worm. Fine, I'll take a worm.
I wanted to make sure I've said though, because I heard Elysium be said a couple times. As far as I know, there's they've been good sports about stuff. We've had a couple little jabs at each other, I think on Facebook or something. But
yeah,
generally speaking, they've been generally good sports and brought a good fight. They brought a good fight yesterday. We had a nice fight with them. So we enjoy that, and we haven't really heard. We hadn't heard from them at all personally until about a day and a half ago. But we haven't really heard a lot of trash talk, so we don't have any issues whatsoever there.
And by the way, we're not condemning all trash talk, because trash talk can be fun if done correctly. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, come after somebody's fit. I mean, back in the days when I was new to the game and I was running armor repair with shield repair at the same time, come at my fit. Don't don't come at me personally. I mean, trash talk is awesome when used correctly. Real quick, I want you to plug your stuff, because y'all have a website. I'm a former IT director. I haven't even built a website for my people, so you're one-upping me in every way that you can. Tell us about the website, because that's another way that they can find out about y'all. And y'all have y'all's content creators listed. And
yeah, I don't even know if I have the website
Alondria,
address. I don't think I've been there.
Can you help out?
Yeah, Alondria, help me out here.
Can you get on
Post
it?
in the comment links. Yes, she'll be all over it. But yeah, no, we built up the website early on, before we even got started, so that people had a chance to come and talk to us. We tried to put all the tips and tricks. I think we have some of your videos up there. We have videos from everybody up there that are like helpful, that people can link to kind of just get oriented in the game. It's always been our goal to have new players have a resource of some sort, and so we try to either put a resource together, so we have a few of those, and then also linking to other resources that we have found helpful, or we do have the perspective of having so many people within Genesis that we get a lot of feedback about what helps, and our own pilots will post it, oh my God, I saw this video and blah 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 about it. So we try to keep those posted so that people can reach out to it. They can also reach out to our corporations through that page. And they can also find our Discord there too. So we do try to put that stuff together as best we can, and we have a fantastic Discord. One of the things that on our Discord too that's super helpful, just for other, you asked me about other alliance leaders and corp
Mm-hmm.
members. There's a Discord bot, and I'll find the name of it and text it to you. But we use it on our Discord to create new channels. So you join like a join to create channel, and it creates a new one for you that you have the control over, whoever it was that created it, and then it disappears when that person goes away. So, or when the channel's empty. So it keeps you from having this giant Discord with 50,000 channels, but it allows people to set up specialized channels for them, voice channels for themselves in order to create different groups and stuff. So that's another, there's so many great tools out there that people can utilize to make this an easier and more friendly game for folks to be using. But I wanted to say before you cut out is thanks for reaching out to me last night.
Yeah.
And thanks for offering to do a show. I wasn't expecting that, but and nor was I expecting to even talk about any of this stuff at all. But you're the first person to do that and the only person to do that, and so I appreciate that you at least gave us a chance to chat and at least asked us what was going on. We're not always going to see eye to eye about stuff, and that's true
Sure.
for everything and everyone. But we appreciate that you gave us sort of the chance to come on and talk about it, or at least,
Yeah, and thank
maybe
you.
we're
I
all
mean,
done.
I know, like I said, I know one that I've taken up an hour and a half, almost 2 hours of your time. So thank you for coming on. Streams just tend to fly away, and I don't realize the time it is that we're going through all this. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like I said, my main goal through all this, and it's only because I've had a chance to work with you. I've had a chance to work with Saw, Fish, and all other CCs like, DM, Excoundrel, Benzie, tons of players out there that I know that all of you are good people, and that sometimes just stuff happens, and you need somebody to step in and say, hey, what's your side? What's your side? How can we resolve this and get back to having fun in a game? What a wild concept. So thank you for coming on and talking and being willing to talk about this, given what everything that's going on. And hopefully this leads to good, fun pew-pews. So
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go have more PPO. I'm sure it's probably some going on right now I don't even know about.
Yeah.
but we'll just, I'll log in and we'll go shoot at things. But that's how we have fun. That's my guys are just amazing. All the guys and gals within this alliance are just fantastic. They're fun to hang out with. Ever since all of this started, I mean, our streams have been streaming battles and streaming fleets. That's kind of what we're doing now, because it just shows people who we are,
Yeah.
and why it is that people hang out with us and want to hang out with us. It's just a fun group of guys and gals that bounce around and get into all kinds of mayhem and mischief and drag whole alliances back to come shoot at us and just go out and have fun and do cool things out there. So,
Well, anything closing, if you want to, I guess, not that you need it, if you want to throw a recruit message, anything you want to say before we end it up.
The only thing I want to say is that I love Genesis, and I love the pilots that make up Genesis, and I appreciate all of the work that all of you guys, the pilots, the CEOs, the directors, everybody does in this organization. And I am the smallest piece of the puzzle when it comes to who we are and what we are. But regardless of how it all works together, we are Genesis, and we are an amazing force. You guys are awesome. So thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of this.
And thanks to everybody who watched the show today and who will watch on the YouTube channel when we get it all set up. These are, I think these are some of the best shows to get here and just really get to know somebody. It really helps put a face, not only to put a face to a name, but to put a person to the ship that you're trying to blow up. So anyway, we appreciate all of y'all for watching. Live long and prosper. Stay safe. Remember, shoot first, and we will catch you on the next stream and on the YouTube channel. Check it out.